As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I roam and I ramble, yeah, I follow my footsteps through the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts, and all around me voices are sounding, singing, singing. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. In the square of a city, shadow of a steeple, down by the welfare office, that's where I see my people. And as they stood there hungry, I stood there wondering, is this land really made for you and really made for you and me? This land is your land. Oh, this land is my land. California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream wall. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. So I was walking and saw a sign, and on this sign said, said no trespassing. But on the other side, that sign didn't say nothing. And that side is made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. California, New York Islands, the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me.
Hello, welcome. Good morning, everybody. My name is Joshua Berg, and I'm coming to you live for a moment to give you a few details and welcome you to this service, Michigan-wide service. I'm very excited. I am the intern minister, or the ministerial intern under Reverend Kimmy Regal at Northwest Unitarian Universalist in Southfield. We are honored and delighted to be hosting this service this morning. So welcome to all the Michigan Unitarian Universalists statewide to this Michigan worship service. Welcome to this sacred space. Welcome to this sacred cyberspace. We are blessed to have the ability to connect in this way. I just want us all to remember, if you would, that this too is a privileged space. Not all people have access to the internet, to computers, or to the technical acumen to get on the internet. So we're blessed to be here this morning. We meet in cyberspace across many miles. We must also remember that each of our congregational homes sits on the lands of Michigan's first people, the ancestral lands of Michigan's first people, the Fox, the Sauk, the Kickapoo, the Menominee, the Miami, the Ojibwa, and the Potawatomi. And it's not enough to just acknowledge that. We must also recognize this in conjunction with a sincere commitment to take action to support Indigenous peoples. And to that end, a good place to start is our own Michigan American Indian Health and Family Services. Please take a look at their website, aihfs.org, and see what you can do to help. So I'd like to welcome, very quickly, in alphabetical order this morning, all the churches that are here. If I don't say the name of your congregation when in the welcome, please type it in the chat, and I will say it before I finish my technical instructions. So welcome All Souls Community Church of West Michigan, Beacon UU Congregation, Berrien UU Fellowship, Birmingham Unitarian Church, Community UUs in Brighton, First UU Church Detroit, First UU Congregation of Ann Arbor, Grosse Pointe Unitarian Church, Harbor UU Congregation, Keweenaw UU Fellowship, New Hope, a UU congregation, Northwest UU Congregation, the People's Church of Kalamazoo, UU Church of East Liberty, UU Church of Farmington, UU Badenoch Fellowship, UU Church of Greater Lansing, UU Community Church of Southwest Michigan. UU of Petoskey is here, I see. Welcome, Petoskey. Southwest Michigan, UU Congregation of Grand Traverse, UU Fellowship of Central Michigan, and UU Fellowship of Midland. Awesome. So if I missed anyone, please type it in the chat. Welcome all. I'll make this quick, the tech logistics. So if you have the ability, I already said, please change your display name to your name plus your city so we can see. I see a lot of you did that. Wonderful. I am coming to you live because I wanted you to see the gallery view. Right now we have over 500 people on Zoom. We have almost 200 people on YouTube. We have 50 people on Facebook. I don't know the math, but that's a lot of people. So please flip through the gallery view as I'm talking, and you can see everybody that's here and get a sense of this beloved community in Michigan and beyond coming together. It's just such a blessed event. If your video is on, be sure we can see into your space, so please be aware of that. You can turn your video off by clicking the little picture of the movie screen on your computer. It's in a video camera. It's in the bottom left on your phone. I'm not sure where it is. Oh, and also you can swipe if you're on your phone to see the various people in the meeting. All right. Very quickly, when I share my screen to play the rest of the video, you can watch other people in your gallery and sing along, and you can watch them react, or you can minimize your gallery. At the top of your gallery, there is a minimization button when you're in the share screen, so you don't have to see the videos if you want to get the whole screen. You're all going to be on mute during the service. I don't think you'll be able to unmute yourself, but if that happens, you will be muted again. We will mute you. We are monitoring the videos for security reasons. We are monitoring everything. There are a few tech people that are here. Oh, Unitarian Universalist of Flint is here. Awesome. I'm so glad to see you guys. All right. Well, thank you to Martha Bogner, Ken Hermanot, and Ben Gable, who are our tech gurus behind the scenes. Just a couple more things to say. We will close the chat. The chat should be closed right now, and we will not accept a chat to the hosts. We will not open it except one point during the service, I will open it after the chalice lighting, and you will get instructions on what to do at that point, and then it will be closed again. Thank you to Birmingham Unitarian Church for collecting the offering and distributing it. 100% of the offering will be split between Black Lives UU and UU Trauma Response Ministry, but you'll hear about that in the service, and you'll see a slide on how to donate. So wonderful. I think that's enough of me talking right now. I'm going to get back to the service. It's approximately an hour long. So once again, welcome to this Internet of Spirit Michigan-wide service. I'm going to stop my video, mute myself.
Good morning, Michigan Unitarians and guests. It's so gratifying to connect with so many congregations throughout Michigan this morning. My name is Amanda Mangiardi, and I am from the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Grand Traverse. Congregations are finding innovative ways to communicate and connect during these dark times. Because of COVID-19, we've had to adapt to completely virtual services. However, we are adapting. We're finding ways to continue to connect and communicate with one another and continue to have a positive impact on our communities. The service today centers around the question, what have we discovered about remaining hopeful in the midst of the unknown that we can sustain in the future? Although we might be weary of all things virtual, this coming together today is a blessing to us all. It helps us to maintain our connections to one another, to our various communities, and to ourselves. The importance of this connection is defined in this poem by Nathan Ryan. Be present. Be it real or metaphor, whatever's in your backpack or your briefcase or your purse that you've brought into the sanctuary today that may be weighing you down, leave it behind. Whatever you're carrying that is keeping you distracted or caught up in guilt and shame or hopelessness, leave it behind. If you need it, it will be there when we are done, but for this hour, just let it go. Come into this place with open hearts. Come into this place with a soul that has remembered how to be tender again. Come into this place with a renewed hope for this world. Come into this place ready to build a world we've always been worthy of and have always dreamed of. May it be so.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and the rose in the winter time. Come with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
We are hope. We are hope. We are love. We are love. We make justice. We make justice. The flame reminds us. The chalice flame reminds us. To burn brightly. To burn brightly. To burn bright with all who we are. All of who we are. All of who we are. The chalice flame reminds us to burn brightly with all of who we are.
I'm the Reverend Julie Brock, and I'm the minister at Community Unitarian Universalists in Brighton. This story is called Rosie and Grandpa Jim. Sunday was Rosie's favorite day of the week. On Sunday, Rosie got to go to church and see so many of her friends. She got to play tag with Luke and sing songs with Allie, but most of all, she liked to hear stories from Grandpa Jim. Grandpa Jim had become Rosie's grandpa a few years ago when Rosie's mom had married Grandpa Jim's son. One day after church, Rosie got a hankering to go to the park down the street where they had a big twisting slide. Rosie asked her mother. She politely asked her mother. She was so excited and determined, and she thought her mother would say yes. And then she said, "Rosie, I'm sitting here having coffee and talking with my friends. Is there a way we could go a different time?" Rosie was disappointed. She was about to protest when she heard Grandpa Jim say, "If Rosie really wants to go to the park, I can take her." Rosie was delighted. Good old Grandpa Jim, always so reliable. They walked to the park and everything felt right with the world. The sun was shining. She was on her way to the big twisting slide, and she was holding Grandpa Jim's hand as they crossed the street while he told her one of his famous stories. But out of nowhere, Rosie heard a beep beep of a police car siren. Grandpa Jim jerked Rosie to the side of the sidewalk, as far away from the street as he could get. Two police officers in crisp blue suits got out of the car. One of them said to Grandpa Jim, "Sir, could I have a word with you over here?" and walked Grandpa Jim out of Rosie's earshot. The other knelt down beside Rosie and said, "Sweetheart, are you okay?" Rosie was confused. Of course she was okay. She was on the way to the park. Then the man said, "Sweetheart, did that man tell you he would take you to this park?" "Of course he said he would take me. That's why we're going," said Rosie. The police officer then leaned in and said in a quiet voice, "Do you know that man, honey?" Rosie was again confused by all of these questions. "Of course I know him. He's my grandfather," she said. It was the police officer's turn to look confused. "Sweetheart, you do know that that man can't be your grandfather, don't you?" Rosie was taken aback. "Why can't that man be my grandfather?" asked Rosie. "Well," said the police officer, "look at your skin and look at your hair. What color are they?" Rosie said, my mom has always said my hair is strawberry blonde and my arm, I guess it's sort of peachish. Right, said the police officer, and look at that man you were with. What color is his skin? What color is his hair? Rosie looked at Grandpa Jim and said, sort of brownish, I guess. The police officer leaned in again and said, you do know, sweetheart, that people that look like you and people that look like him, they can't be related. At that moment, the other police officer stepped in and said, he says the girl's mother's at the church down the street. We could at least check it out. The police officers walked Rosie and Grandpa Jim back to church. They found Rosie's mother, who then seemed to speak to them the same way that she spoke to Rosie when she was in trouble. So they let Grandpa Jim go, and he seemed very relieved. Rosie couldn't stop thinking about what he had said, though, that Grandpa Jim couldn't be her family. She asked her mother about it that week, but her mother just told her that the officer was wrong. Later, she asked Grandpa Jim, because it was still bothering her when she got to church, why would he say that we're not family, Grandpa? Rosie, said Grandpa Jim, sometimes a good old story is about the best thing in the world, but sometimes people keep telling old stories that aren't true, and they hurt people. People tell stories that say that people that look like me and people that look like you can't be family, and that people that look like me can't be trusted. Those police officers thought I was up to no good because they didn't hear stories about people like you and people like me going to the park together. I could have gotten in real trouble if it weren't for your mother. But, said Rosie, when we're all together, those are when my favorite stories happen. Grandpa Jim smiled. Well, Rosie, then those are the new stories we need to learn to tell. We need stories with all kinds of different characters and all kinds of different heroes from every walk of life. We need stories that teach people that everyone who looks alike aren't all the same, and you can't judge someone just based on what they look like. And, said Rosie, we need stories where people who look like you and people who look like me can be each other's family. Yes, said Grandpa Jim, that one for sure. The more people who learn that, the more hope I'll have for this world. Rosie was so relieved and happy to know that Grandpa Jim was still her grandpa. She thought he looked happy too. She even wondered if he was in a good enough mood to maybe want to go to the park.
On behalf of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Detroit, Martha and I want to welcome all of you to participate in an offering that benefits two vitally important UU organizations, Black Lives of UU and UU Trauma Response Ministry. For those of you who do not know about these organizations, we wanted to tell you something about them. Formed in the wake of several conversations among Black Unitarian Universalists at the July 2015 movement for Black Lives convening in Cleveland, Ohio, the Blue Organizing Collective is one, committed to expanding the power and capacity of Black UUs within our faith. Two, providing support, information, and resources for Black Unitarian Universalists. And three, justice making and liberation through our faith.
As stated on their website, the Unitarian Universalist Trauma Response Ministry provides culturally sensitive spiritual care to survivors of mass disasters and other significant trauma. The work of UUTRM includes education, providing resources, and deploying response teams in the wake of disaster. With seemingly constant news of a novel virus, white supremacist violence, and environmental disasters, this work is as vital now as ever.
We invite you now to join together in an offering, recognizing that this religious community exists by its mission as a fire exists by burning.
But a fire cannot burn without fuel. And it is the time, the energy, the imagination, the vision, the creativity, the compassion, the love, and the financial support of the members and friends of this community that fuels our mission to nurture and sustain a welcoming, inclusive, and diverse liberal religious community that transforms lives and serves the world.
Your support, the free and generous support of each and every member and friend of this community, is what fuels this community and its mission.
Without your support, the flame of justice, community, and love cannot burn brightly to warm ourselves and be a beacon in a world threatened by division and fear.
This is a song called Step Back and Listen, and it's written by Stephen and Abha Deering. What color are you? How much money do you make? Where do you live with who? Can I trust you? My people aren't like yours. We are wary of your game. How will we reconcile? Can I trust you? One word, one look, you invite me to engage. A story can heal, but we have to turn the page and step back, step back, and listen, oh, listen. Step back, step back, to hear what our hearts need to know. Cowardice is real, seems to underscore it all. Anger fuels the fire, will you trust me? Empathy can bind if we're safe to take the risk. The urgency is now, will you trust me? More pain, more hate will not relieve this ache. Our story can heal, but we have to turn the page and step back, step back, and listen, oh, listen. Step back, step back, to hear what our hearts need to know. Listen, I am listening now. Can you share? I hear you. How can I trust you? You can trust me. I will bide my time with you. Let's laugh and see each other through. I can only speak for me. You can trust me. Sharing this space, inhabiting this place. Our stories will heal. We just have to turn the page and step back, step back, and listen, oh, listen. Step back, step back, to hear what our hearts need to know. Together, step back, and listen to each other, oh,
a candle, lit to hold all of our joys and sorrows that have gone unspoken, but remain in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts this morning. As Unitarian Universalists, we draw on the widest circle when it comes to our understanding of prayer. For those of you who rely on reason, we ask you to open your minds in this moment. For those of you who sense the spirit of life and love, we ask you to open your hearts. For those of you who find the meaning of life found in nature, we ask you to center in your bodies in this moment. And for those of you who pray to the divine, we ask you to reach deep into your soul in this moment. In all the ways and so many more, let us enter into a moment of prayer with one another. We lament all the concerns and sorrows that have been experienced in this week, the spoken and unspoken, the shared and unshared. We ask for healing, for understanding, kindness, justice, and ultimately peace. May our prayers find their way to you. We rejoice in all the joys and celebrations experienced in this week, spoken and unspoken, shared and unshared, and we give thanks for them, for the love and happiness and the clarity found in these treasured moments. We express gratitude for the gladness finding its way into our lives. May we also acknowledge all of the challenges that we face as individuals, as families, as congregations, and as citizens of this world. May we seek to find gratitude. For even on our hardest days, for it is gratitude that will lead us to the smallest glimmer of hope. And it is our hope that will see us through to our future and to our better days ahead. In this week before us, may we ask to be attentive to those in need. May we also be mindful of our own limitations. May we be thoughtful in our words and in our actions. And may we start each day with the intention of bringing our better selves into this world, a world that so desperately needs our best self to be present. And finally, let us take a short time of silence. Let us create this together so that each one of us can find a moment to pray, to meditate, or to dream. Amen. And may peace be with you.
If we want peace in the world, we've got to work on, work on, work on. If we want peace in the world, we've got to do more. got to march on. If we want to survive in this world today, and every day we got to work on it. If we want to survive in this world today, and every day we got to work on. If we want to survive in this world today, and every day we got to teach on. If we want to survive in this world today, and every day we got to teach on. If we want to survive in this world today, and every day we got to sing on, sing on. If we want to survive in this world today, and every day we got to sing on, sing every day we got to sing on, sing every day we got to sing on. If we want to survive in this world today, sing every day we've got to sing on, sing if we want to survive in this world today, and every day we've got to sing on, we've got to sing on, sing on, sing on, sing on, sing
Hi, this is Reverend G. Ludwig McCartney with the Unitarian Universalist Community Church of Southwest Michigan. Please allow me to read you a poem by Andrea Hawkins Kemper, Be About the Work. May we see it all as it is, and may it all be as we see it. May we be the ones to make it as it should be. For if not us, who? If not now, when? This is answering the cry of justice with the work of peace. This is redeeming the pain of history with the grace of wisdom. This is the work we are called to do, and this is the call we answer now. To be the barrier and the bridge, to be the living embodiment of our principles, to be about the work of building the beloved community, to be a people of intention, and the people of conscience.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Severson, minister at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Midland, Michigan. I invite you this morning to hear these words by the Reverend Dr. Jack Mendelson. Here in this sanctuary of ancient dreams and wisdom and beauty, we come to grow, to be healed, to stretch mind and heart, to be challenged, renewed, to be helped in our own continuing struggles for meaning and for love, to help build a world with more justice and mercy in it, to be counted among the hopers and the doers. In the face of cynicism, darkness, brutality all around us and within, we seek to align ourselves with a living community that would affirm rather than despair, that would think and act rather than simply adjust and succumb. Here we invite the spirit of our own humanity and the healing powers under, around, through, and beyond it to give us the nerve and the grace, the toughness and sensitivity to search out the truth that frees and the life that maketh all things new.
It's hard to believe in the sun in the dark of the night. And it's hard to believe in the stars in the bright morning light. Well, we all need a place we can go to learn what is real, to ponder the depths of the soul where truth is revealed. Ah, this is our place. This is our home. Working and seeking, we're never alone. In this mortar and stone, these windows and walls, love's earthly home, heeding the call. It's bread for the journey, oil for the flame. But people of love, people of hope, people of change. It's hard to believe there is peace when war rages on. And it's hard to believe there is love in hate's raging throng. But for every brave soldier, a peacemaker takes her own stand. And for every soul long turned away, there waits a new hand. Oh, let it be you. Let it be me. Here in love's dwelling, we learn to believe. In this mortar and stone, these windows and walls, love's earthly home, heeding the call. It's bread for the journey, oil for the flame. For people of love, people of hope, people of change. For people of love, people of hope, people of change. When a place is what welcomes you in, you build it, you change it, so the promise of love can begin here in this room, here in these halls, hearts open wide, welcoming all. This mortar and stone, these windows and walls, love's earthly home, heeding the call. It's bread for the journey, oil for the flame. But people of love, people of hope, people of change. When people of love, people of hope, people of change. We're living out love, living out hope, living out Now I believe in the sun in the dark of the night.
Hope and faith. Those words get used almost interchangeably. Faith is easy. Hope takes work. Faith is a firm belief in something for which there may be no proof. Hope is to cherish a desire with anticipation, to want something to happen or to want something to be true. The understanding of these two terms that I hold is that one hopes for an outcome, while faith regards that which already exists. Faith is what gets us to be willing to hope. I have faith in humanity, therefore I can hope for the future. Hope is a lot more work. Let me repeat that. Faith is what gets us to be willing to hope. I have faith in humanity, so I continue to hope for the future. Hope is a lot more work. If you turn on the news, you know there is bad news every day and a lot of it. Rampant violence against Black people and a worldwide pandemic are just two of the pieces. Is it any wonder that despair is no longer just creeping in, but blindsiding us? It truly seems to be a less and less hopeful world. There are plenty of opportunities for despair. As one of my colleagues, Mark Hayes, writes, the challenge only becomes greater when the whole world seems to be going to hell in a handbasket. When the world is in despair, we feel we have the fewest options, and hopelessness can set in. There seems to be no good solutions. We feel we have no influence on the future. We can see no light at the end of our tunnel. That's when real hopelessness sinks its teeth in, when we lose sight of the possibilities. Given the pandemic and our country's racial strife, we all feel a little like we're wandering through our own dark night of the soul. And what to do? This is the question that all dark nights beg. What to do? As I suggested a few moments ago, I feel that identifying that in which we can still have faith makes it possible for us to have hope. Even if fewer areas remain where we can find faith, it is there where hope is born. I think of the words of Albert Camus. In the midst of winter, I found within myself an invincible summer. This makes me happy, for it means that no matter how hard the world pushes against me, within me there is something better, something stronger, pushing right back. Bringing hope to each other is the task we face. Doesn't our Unitarian Universalist faith call us to this? And if not us, then who? This is not one of those tasks that can be left for someone. There may be no someone else. Rather, we must reach deeply inside, if that's where you find strength, or search upward and outward into humanity, if that's where your strength comes, or perhaps you find hope in the lives and stories of the ancestors. We all need hope, and we can all give it. I resonate with the words of Denise Levertov. I have a small grain of hope, one small crystal that gleams clear colors out of transparency. I need more. I break off a fragment and send it to you. Please take this grain of hope so that mine won't shrink. Please share your fragment so that others will grow. The Vice Admiral James Stockton was held as a prisoner of war during Vietnam. To survive the experience, Stockton said he relied on a mix of hope, which he defined as the need for an absolute certainty that you will prevail, and realism, which he called the discipline to begin confronting the brutal facts wherever you are. He survived with a mix of hope and realism. This same strategy can be applied to this time we're in. Hope is the understanding that we will prevail. This will come to an end. Justice will win out. Humanity will develop an immunity. Black lives will matter. That tempered with realism. This isn't going to be easy. There are many hard days that lie ahead, and we can each be an instrument of hope in each other's lives. As Adrian Hawkins Kemper offered in our reading, be about the work. We are the bearers and the bridges. Since we feel hopeless, when we perceive we will not be successful, we can start to bring hope by first redefining success. I like Emerson's definition of a successful life. To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, and to endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. There is hope if we define success as leaving the world a little bit better than we found it. Success is not measured in numbers, in bank accounts, or possessions owned. Success is measured in justice, reform, healing, joy. These are the markers that we need to seek. Seeing such success can bring us hope. How does this understanding of success apply to our current situation? The pandemic and our country's racial strife? In 1883, the poet Emma Lazarus wrote, "We ignore and repudiate our unhappy brethren as having no part or share in their misfortunes until the cup of anguish is held to our own lips." Now we are seeing daily how the cup of anguish is being held to our own lips. This pandemic has shown us the interdependence we have with one another. This racial strife has shown us how deeply we are tied to an inescapable network of mutuality, to quote the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In sum, we finally are beginning to learn that we truly share this planet and each other's misfortunes. We have an increased awareness now, maybe a visceral understanding, that we are all truly connected. This gives me hope if we understand that we're all connected. Hope that we will see the need for national health care. Hope that we will see the need for a living minimum wage. Hope that we will see the need for dismantling white supremacy and our injustice system. Hope that we will remember the interdependence that we have found during this time. We are dependent on the migrant workers who are still in the field picking our food. We are dependent on those who pick up our trash every day. We are deeply indebted to all the staff of our medical systems, from the people who do the laundry to the nurses and doctors. We are responsible to each other. The death of Black people at the hands of the police is an indictment of us all. The liberation of each person is tied to the liberation of all people on this planet. We are separate human beings, and we are deeply connected to one another. Because of that, we can have a positive effect. We can improve each other's lives. We can speak up and take up. We can be part of finding solutions. We can redefine success. We can share the grains of hope we find. Like our reading from Jack Mendelson this morning, we must affirm rather than despair. We should think and act rather than simply adjust and succumb. Let me tell you an uplifting story. A 45-year-old white woman in the South ventured a conversation about race with the African-American appliance repairman who had been to her house several times to repair broken appliances. She asked him questions about what it's like to be a Black man. He took a huge risk and engaged her in the conversation. Ernest told her he gets pulled over at least 6 times a year in their hometown of Myrtle Beach. He drives around in a van, a company van, with the name of his company on the side of the van, and still the police pull him over because they suspect him of some crime. He told her he doesn't stop to help people in the dark anymore because he's afraid it's not safe for him. He told her about being fired for complaining about his supervisor, who called him boy. They talked about many things. She was unaware, as most white folks are. She admitted to being oblivious, and then she leveraged her privilege to begin change. She asked his permission to post the story to Facebook with a picture. Ernest now has more business than he knows what to do with, and the Myrtle Beach city planner is meeting with both of them to see what can be done to change things in their town. Change can happen with just simple conversations. And so may we each be aware of and open to the possibilities that life yet holds for us. Solutions to systemic racism, solutions to violence and hate, solutions that bring justice and health. May we keep hope alive. As William Sloane Coffin once said, hope arouses as nothing can arouse, a passion for the possible. May we each find our way, finding hope, offering hope, sharing hope, so that what is possible may become real. Namaste.
My life flows on in endless song, above us lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars? I know the truth it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing?
And now I invite you to join together, reaching out in spirit across Michigan as we end this service together. How can we keep from singing, knowing that there is a greater love that holds us all? May that greater love be with us in the midst of the unknown and hold us as we incarnate our values in ourselves, in our communities, and in the greater world. May we know that it is the work that we do together that will make it so. Our worship is over. May our service begin.
Tomorrow's bringing, trust it. be
All right, everyone. Thank you for coming. You'll be invited into breakout rooms now. And please say what your name is, where you're from, something you love about your area, and let's talk about hope. See you there.